following program is paid for and presented by John DeMasi. The opinions expressed are not those of Town Square Media or station advertisers.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Well, the question is today, whatever happened to spring? Remember Monday and Tuesday? It was beautiful. And then we're back into whatever this is. Eventually, I guess, we'll get there. Good morning and welcome to another edition of Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5, also heard on 1450 AM. And if you want to go online, always streaming, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. That's where we are. And we are, the phone number here in the studio, 609-407-1450. 609-407-1450. We'll get to our calls and to Seth Grossman and all of that in just a moment. Danny Levinson, Atlantic County Executive, stopping by at 10 o'clock this morning. We'll get a review of what's happening in the county and what's coming up in the near future, and just a general state of the county from Danny Levinson. We'll get it right from the horse's mouth here on Talk with a Purpose. That's coming up at 10 o'clock this morning. But in the meantime, we have a lot to talk about. 609-407-1450. 609-407-1450. That is our number here in the studio. And I really don't know how to start this because I'm sort of conflicted with what has happened here locally in the last week or so. And that is this past Monday, a disturbing day here in Atlantic County, as I see it, as Atlantic City Mayor Marty Small and his wife, Laquetta Small, they were both charged with second-degree endangering the welfare of a child. This is according to the prosecutor's office. Marty Small was additionally charged with third-degree terroristic threats, third-degree aggravated assault, and disorderly person's simple assault. Those are the charges against Marty Small. Laquetta Small, superintendent of the Atlantic City School District, was additionally charged with disorderly person's simple assault. The charges were placed in summonses for both defendants. Those are the facts. Those are the charges. Those are what we know so far. And I want to say this about the Smalls. First of all, I don't know, nor have I ever spoken to Laquetta Small. But as you know, Mayor Marty Small, in my opinion, has always been forthcoming when it comes to this program. In fact, Mayor Small has said on several occasions, this is the only show he will come on this station. And we appreciate that. That being said, Marty Small has never dodged a question. In fact, what we normally do is we normally give our guests an idea of what we're going to talk about. And Marty Small says, I don't need that. Everything's on the table. Ask me whatever you want. And that, to me, has always been an upstanding citizen, forthcoming, and all of that stuff. So I don't know really what to say about this. But what is disturbing, and we've talked about this before, involving a teenage daughter and the Smalls and the subject of parenting. And I've talked about bad parenting, and I'm not to suggest that their situation is bad parenting, but we've talked about how children are raised in this day and age. And I'll tell you, I guess I raised my godson, in a manner of speaking, and he didn't have a father, so there I was. And it was difficult 30 years ago.
Good to hear.
Okay. So, you know, it's one of those things where does bad parenting come in or good parenting? And it's just, it's a very difficult situation. And in this case, the Smalls, as the story goes, were trying to help their daughter, and they were trying to keep her away from what they say is an undesirable boyfriend. And I got to tell you, in some cases, I relate to this. Because when my godson was 16, he had a 14-year-old girlfriend. Okay. You listening to this, Chris? Because you're going to face this in a few years. And this girl had the body of a 25-year-old. And she knew it. And she was from an area in South Jersey, and I won't say the town, but where girls got pregnant at 16. And I was so concerned about that, and I tried my best to really manage this situation, and it was impossible. So I can relate to how the Smalls, if this were any kind of a situation like that, it is very difficult. And I'm sure that there are parents out there who, oh yeah, that was me too. That was me too. That it's just a common theme. It seems more so today with teenagers than it was in the past. I mean, whatever happened to, I know when I was growing up, I got plenty of beatings over situations with girls. So, but that was then. That was in the 60s. Today, it doesn't fly. And Marty Small's daughter goes to the superintendent or goes to the principal of the school, talks about the situation, and she says, it didn't happen, then it happened, and we don't know what. But it remains to be seen. But all I can say is this, that it is a very, very difficult situation. And I believe that the Smalls are good people. And that this situation hopefully will resolve itself and the family can move on from this kind of a situation. But it's one of those things where the parents are damned if they do and damned if they don't. You know, that's all I can say. But they all need our prayers and our well wishes. And we do hope that it is an acceptable outcome, and we shall see in the next coming weeks and months. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We will bring him on a little bit early today and let him have a few extra minutes because I didn't give him a birthday present, so this is one of the presents I'll give him. Seth Grossman, Liberty and Prosperity. Seth, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, and I'm calling you from West Palm Beach, visiting with my daughter for Passover. But I also did something interesting, and by the way, there's a lot of new posts on libertyandprosperity.com, but I did not have a chance to send an email update to showcase them. But if anyone goes to libertyandprosperity.com, you'll see the new posts. But one thing I've got to say, being down in Florida, my brother Michael was visiting me from Spain, and so I gave him a grand tour of our family from South Jersey down to Miami, and I took him back to the Miami International Airport. And because it was the afternoon and because I-95 was all clogged up, I took the local way back north, driving 50 miles through A1A, Collins Avenue, Miami Beach, up to Aventura, up to Hollywood, up to Fort Lauderdale, and so on. And I had not driven that way for maybe 20 or 30 years. And I couldn't believe the magnificent building, the prosperity, you know, just the wealth, the affluence, the safety, everything good that we used to brag about in New Jersey is right there on display in Florida. And it was just a magnificent experience. And, you know, you compare that drive with what you see if you drive down Atlantic Avenue in Atlantic City and drive down through Wildwood. It's like going from a third world country into like this prosperous metropolis. So that's my impression of being down here in Florida right now.
Wow.
And, oh, by the way, Florida has a Republican governor, Ron DeSantis. We have a Democratic governor and legislature, Phil Murphy. Do you think that may explain the difference?
Well, yeah, that's part of it, yeah.
So that's going on. With regard to Marty Small, you know, it is a personal family matter, and I see a lot of political people are trying to make this a political issue. And when I say what I'm going to say, you'll see why. You know, a lot of people say, well, Seth Grossman, you know, I love what you say on the radio. Why don't you run for public office? Well, here's why I don't run for public office, because I say things, these inconvenient truths. And I hear a lot of people saying, oh Marty Small, such a horrible mayor, and if only we had Don Guardian back again. But if you compare, you know, forget the family situation, the politics of Marty Small is what we call despotism. It's all based on personal relationships. He will brag that I'm a good friend of Governor Phil Murphy. And because I'm a good friend of Governor Phil Murphy, I could let the streets of Atlantic City run down. I could let the boardwalk run down. But as long as I promote a woke agenda in our public schools, as long as I have a diversity office and go along with this whole agenda, I will be rewarded because Governor Murphy will give me free money for the air show. He'll give me $20 million to fix up my boardwalk. He'll give me money to fix up Atlantic Avenue if I do the stupid road diet. You know, so it's all based on I do you a favor, you do me a favor, and there's no accountability for getting a job done, for hiring the best people, for following the same rules everybody else follows. And that's exactly what Don Guardian, Republican, Bill Gormley, Republican, Vince Palestina, Republican, are doing. You know, they're saying, well, you know, with Guardian, I put the city of Atlantic City $80 million in illegal debt each year. I piled up $400 million of debt. And because of that, Atlantic City taxpayers are no longer free. We depend on favors from the state government just to get by. Nobody talks about that, but that's what happens when you ignore the law, when you ignore the law against illegal budget deficits, illegal debt. And so it's the same thing. You depend on favors from people to bail you out. And that again, the word for that is either tyranny or despotism, but it's not liberty. Liberty is where everybody follows the same rules and is accountable for their bad decisions as well as their good decisions. So I just wanted to point that out.
Well, since you put it that way.
Meanwhile, one of the big issues that came up, Eric Scheffler, the Democratic candidate for sheriff who lost, was rewarded for losing by getting a plum job to run the CRDA, the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority. And anyone who's not familiar with that agency, it was set up at the beginning of the casino era. That does basically, I don't know if you remember the mobster Bugsy Siegel, who really built Las Vegas for the mob.
Yeah, I remember.
But one of the ways he rewarded his gangster friends back east is he would skim 2% of the gross take of the casinos and have a slush fund to pay back all the mob bosses, back in the east. And anyone who saw the movie The Godfather, he was the Mo Green character. So that's what the Casino Reinvestment Development Authority did. It basically skims 2% of the gross winnings of the casinos, puts it into a slush fund, and the CRDA uses it to give to the favorite politicians throughout the state. So now the punishment of Eric Scheffler for losing an election is he gets to be the head of this giant slush fund, with a big salary and pension and medical benefits and all that stuff. And the CRDA is also running a duplicate local government in Atlantic City. So if you're unhappy with what the mayor and the the city agencies are doing in Atlantic City. You just go to the CRDA and they'll give you what you want. So it's really a political creature. But the real story here, and a guy called John Carmen of the Constitutional Republicans in Cumberland County posted this. He said, how come when Democrats do patronage, they have a strategic reason for it? In other words, the Democrats attract good candidates to run as Democrats, because if they win, they win. But if Democrats lose, the Democrats take care of their losing candidates and reward them anyway. So that's why the Democrats always get much better candidates in many occasions than Republicans, because with Republicans, if you lose an election, the organization will say, you're a loser. We want nothing to do with you. So who's going to want to bother to put their heart into a political campaign if they're not successful, or if they stick up for principles and they don't win? Then the party's going to just toss them aside. And when Republicans get patronage, they usually will give it to some sort of donor, or they'll give it to a friend or a relative or something. But you'll notice that Republicans do not use patronage as strategically as the Democrats do. And I thought that was a very interesting observation by John Carmen.
Yes, I agree with you. I definitely agree.
I guess the big story going on right now is it was in Thursday's Press of Atlantic City, the Freedom to Read Act, which is really something out of George Orwell, because there's a bill pending in the legislature that would take away from elected school boards the right to decide what books go in their school libraries. And it will be decided by the so-called professionals, the professional NJEA union teachers and the professional librarians. And I happen to know quite a bit about libraries. I was very friendly with a local librarian who told me the inside story. But basically, most libraries have today, and I know it may make some of the librarians angry, but they really don't depend on scholarship or things that traditionally were done by libraries. Today, libraries, they have events, they rent out video games, they rent out movies, they rent out the air guitar applications, all this stuff that has nothing to do with books. But yet, to be a librarian, you have to have a master's of what's called an MLS, Master of Library Science, which is a very expensive 6-year program. And the way they select who gets in those programs and who can afford it, they select far left people. I'd say about 90%. It's total indoctrination into the woke left-wing agenda. And so these are the people who are running all your libraries. So even if you have a conservative town like Avalon, a Republican town in Cape May County, the librarians they hire, 90% of them are going to be pushing through this woke agenda. And it's not just about where they've been putting books in these school libraries for 3rd and 4th graders with what could put you in jail for pornography 3 or 4 years ago, or to steer you into this gender confusion, which is all designed to put parents against kids and kids against parents and to break up families. You'll find out that you'll find no books about successful white males, like the Carnegies, the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, the people who built our railroads, built our industry, made advances in medicine, made our society as prosperous, as healthy, as comfortable as it is. You won't find any books about the people who did that. You'll just find, the victims, people who are claiming they didn't get enough, and it completely distorts what our kids are learning. But why do I bring that up? Because right now, parents are starting to realize this, and they're electing people to school boards, people like Ethel Hermano and Ginny Larea in Galloway Township, people like Kathy Panico and I'm trying to think, Liz Nicoletti in Ocean City. And they're being very vocal about wanting to restore the balance in our libraries and schools that we had before. And the response of Governor Murphy is to pass a new law that says, it doesn't matter who you elect to the school board. We're going to have the professional librarians, and we're going to have the professional union NJEA teachers. They're going to decide what books go in the library regardless of what your elected school board members say. And the fact that they call this the Freedom to Read Act just shows how George Orwell was alive and well in New Jersey. I mean, it destroys freedom, but they're calling it the Freedom to Read Act. So that was introduced last January. When there was opposition, they withdrew it from a public hearing, but it's going to be back in May. And what's really disgusting is that when the school board members are opposing this bill and saying this is really destroying our ability to teach our own kids traditional American values, the state school officials are threatening the school board members with kicking them up off the school boards by saying it's unethical political behavior for doing this. So that's going on, and we posted that on our libertyandprosperity.com website, and I urge everybody to read about it.
That's disturbing, Seth. It really is.
Yeah. And again, all the emphasis is put on the sexual orientation stuff. But when you say, well, why is Mark Twain missing? Why is Huckleberry Finn missing? Why are all these great American authors and historic figures missing from our libraries? This is why. And we're told, actually, I'm still saying it's a good idea to run for the school board, to support good conservatives for school board. But what the Democrats are trying to do, they talk about, we got to save democracy. But they want to pass these laws that make sure that no matter who you put in the school board, they're going to have their hand-picked, unelected union employees. They're going to pick everything anyway. So that's where the battle's going on a local level.
And again, you encourage people to run for school board?
I absolutely do, and I'm going to be giving a seminar on May 13th from one of the groups at the New Life Assembly Church about some of the techniques that we taught that allowed people to actually win school board elections in Galloway and in Ocean City. And we would like to see this happening in Egg Harbor Township and Upper Township and so many of the other towns. But people are not aware that the deadline for filing your petition is in July, the last week of July. But you don't want to wait till last week of July. If you want to make a change in your kid's school now, you have to be thinking about it now. And it's not just about running by yourself. It's like going into combat. You have to get basic training. You have to know how to use your weapons. You have to know tactics and strategies. You have to make alliances with other people. And that's what we teach during the next 2 months. So that's something to pay attention and contact us at Liberty and Prosperity about that.
Boy, you just you got a wealth of knowledge there.
Well, just a couple of quick points. There was another fire underneath the Central Pier. What was it, Wednesday or Thursday?
Yes.
And what's causing all these fires under the piers and the boardwalks? A lot of damage done just before the pier's getting ready to open because you have homeless people living under the boardwalk, under the piers. And what gives someone the right to say that because I don't want to get a job, because I don't want to take medication, because I don't want to become a productive member of society, I have the right to live on somebody else's property. I have the right to light fires under the boardwalk. Remember, we had a big fire under the boardwalk right in front of resorts for the same reason. So in other words, it's not like a victimless crime. It's like the rest of us all have obligations. Liberty comes with responsibility. And, you have to support yourself. You have to support your family. You have to pay for your food. When they talk about capitalism being a cruel system, it's not capitalism. That's a fake communist word. The word is freedom and responsibility. And our whole American system is based on the idea that I'm not entitled to get anything unless I produce something of value for somebody else, either by doing a job for somebody else that they need to be done, or by producing food, producing a service, producing something that somebody else wants. That's the beauty of a free society. And the irony of it is that the communists actually have a crime called parasitism. If you're going to be a parasite, if you're not going to produce anything for somebody else, you have no right to just live on public streets, live under the boardwalk, live wherever you want, use wherever you want as a bathroom, harass tourists who are the lifeblood of our city so they don't come again. All this has become normal in Atlantic City and Wildwood, and this is what's destroying our state. And yet, neither Republicans nor Democrats seem to want to say very much about this.
Well, I don't think they think it's an issue, but it is.
But it's the most important issue. Other couple quick things. When we talked last week, you say, well, what can we do? Even investing your money. I happen to own stock in my retirement fund in a couple of companies. I own stock in Goldman Sachs, the Boeing Airplane Company, the JP Morgan Bank. And what you'll notice is every year they have the meeting of shareholders, and you have to, as a shareholder, you have to vote for these different proposals. And anyone who is paying attention to their proxy statement sees that now you have a proposal to have your company, an oil company, try to cut emissions. An airline company that's had all these accidents, promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion in hiring. I mean, heck, when I get on an airplane, I want to make sure that the plane is put together by people who know what they're doing. I don't care what race or sexual orientation they have.
Yeah.
And yet you see all these corporations are being forced to do these things which appear to be a joke, but they're not a joke. No one in their right mind would support any of this, except when you look at the fine print, it says that basically 1/4 of all the shares of these big companies are owned by either BlackRock or Vanguard or Newport, and these three companies are all pushing this diversity, equity agenda, which is really anti-America. They really want to destroy your investment. Your retirement funds are not going to get a return because it's promoting social justice instead of success for the corporation. So we have that going on, which leads, I guess, to the final point. The wind turbine issue is up again. Governor Murphy is pushing it. The Defend Brigantine Beach is having a major fundraiser this Sunday. I guess it's the 21st in Ventnor. We have that posted on our website from 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock. They need your help. And when you think of the fact that all they have to do is increase the capacity at the Salem nuclear plant just a little bit, and that one Salem nuclear plant would produce more reliable energy for half the cost than all those wind turbines they're proposing. And you have to ask yourself, why are they doing it? What is the agenda they have? So please support, I think they call it now Defend Brigantine Beach and Down Beach fundraiser. I think it's called Provenzano's Restaurant. If you want information, it's on the libertyandprosperity.com website. And I can't say I'm going to be late for the meeting because I'm in Florida, but we have people who say, I want to get a word in edgewise without Grossman interrupting me. Well, there's your chance at Sal's Cafe, 501 New Road in Summers Point, meeting starting at 9:30.
Okay, Seth, thank you. Libertyandprosperity.com is the website. Of course, Seth Grossman here on Talk with a Purpose. And that's what it is, Talk with a Purpose, every Saturday, 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We'll talk to Greg and Bob and maybe you at 609-407-1450. We'll get started with your calls after these words.
The finest fresh fruit and produce you'll find anywhere? Check. Award-winning gift baskets and fruit baskets? Check. Baked goods and prepared foods? Check. They check all the boxes. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield. And that's not all. Gourmet items, specialty foods, and catering for all occasions. It's all right there. Check them out online at bfmazzio.com. That's bfmazzio.com. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield.
And we are back here on Talk with a Purpose, 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. Let's get started. We'll talk to Greg in Apseek. And Greg, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Mr. Demaski, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Seth brought up a couple subjects. I had 2, now I have 4.
Okay.
The one gives a little insight into why the government is in the condition it's in. If the Democrats are taking losers and finding jobs for them, it's reflected in the government we have.
Yeah.
Okay. I found something positive about the windmills, finally.
Share it with us.
A constant breeze on the beach. The people that have a little sweat on their forehead, with a constant breeze, they don't have that problem anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. My subjects, President Trump. His opposition are going to hand him the keys and say, we give up. Here's the keys to the White House. We don't need an election. You won. Enjoy it. I firmly believe that's going to happen. These people keep doing this. We won't need an election. They're not going to have anybody voting for them at all.
Yeah,
every time they try to drive a stake in him, it ends up coming through the other side of their head. I mean, it's incredible. Not his head, their head.
Yeah, he gets more popular as the lawsuits and so on go on. Yeah, he does.
Exactly. And the last subject, I know you're going to hate this one, abortion. Just a couple words, and this is a new group of people that may have come up with a possible solution to it. We are striking at the heart of America's baby-killing monster. We are starting to show the truth of abortion, the murder of a living unborn child, on a stadium-sized video screen to all of New York City. Why New York City? It's the abortion capital of the world.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That don't get their attention. Well, this is a full-page letter and photos, and it just blew my mind. A full-screen stadium screen showing an actual abortion, real time, real deal. Not make-believe, the real thing.
Where did this happen?
It's going to happen.
Oh, okay. When?
In other words, I do not know.
Oh, okay.
They don't give you that information. But what they're about to do, and it's their bottom line, hardened pro-choice minds will be shocked and changed forever. If this doesn't change, nothing will.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm saying, if they show something like that to the majority of people, I mean, it freezes them in their tracks. They cannot believe that what they're seeing is actually happening or happened to a real human being.
Boy.
It's spooky.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But it's definitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the real deal.
Yes, it is. Greg, thank you for the call. Bob and Cape May. Bob, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hey, good morning, John. Look, Seth mentioned Florida, and the prosperity for a region is absolutely correlated to lower taxes and freedom, of course, that lower taxes bring. But you could see it in Florida, John. I remember staying in Miami at the Fontainebleau about 30 years ago. And it was a rundown area. Even the Fontainebleau, which was a famous hotel,
yes,
was pretty much of a dump, 30 years ago. And Florida had now decades of good governance, and taxes have gotten much lower. The state's an economic powerhouse, and what Governor DeSantis has brought to the state is just remarkable. It's the nation's leading state in terms of economic development. Nothing's even close. I mean, there were months that Florida had like 85% of the new job growth in this country. But we have an example of that even closer to our area of what high taxes do to an area versus low taxes. And that's right across the Delaware Bay, across from Cape May. You've got Sussex County, Delaware. The unprecedented growth that you see there, seniors are retiring in droves to that area of Delaware and Delaware in general, but there's hardly any real estate tax over there, unlike New Jersey where you get crushed. There is no sales tax over there. And you just take a ride down Coastal Highway or even areas west of that, the development, you wouldn't believe it. And, it's a year-round economy over there. It doesn't shut down for the winter like Cape May County does.
Yeah.
It's a very stark difference. And again, it's all has to do with making an area affordable for people. That's what it's all about. It's where do you get a bigger bang for the buck? And it's just investment in an area. You talk to any economist, investment in an area does wonders. You have something called a multiplier effect, and you don't have that in New Jersey. New Jersey ranks at the bottom in the entire country for a business-friendly environment, at the bottom. So, we have politicians keep electing people like Phil Murphy, who say that, hey, if you have a problem with high taxes, then maybe New Jersey isn't your state. You're going to have a choice this time, voters in New Jersey. And you have Jack Ciattarelli, who will turn his state around, or you're going to have another socialist Democrat like I don't know who they're picking. Maybe it's going to be Tammy Murphy to continue another 4 wonderful years of what New Jersey's going through with Murphy.
How about Steve Sweeney? Steve Sweeney.
Yeah. Oh, Steve Sweeney's the guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It appears to be at this point.
Well, he got beat by a truck driver a few election cycles ago. Okay. Okay. Good luck, Steve Sweeney. Good luck. So, anyway, another point Seth brought up is the school board elections. And, it's incredibly important. It really is, because the one reason we have such high real estate taxes in New Jersey is because school spending is just out of control, totally out of control.
Yes.
And again, it's not, academic performance is not really tied to teacher salaries. It's not tied to building great infrastructure for these elaborate schools. It all has to do with parental involvement, and that really doesn't cost the taxpayers much money at all. Okay, if parents care about their children's education, they will perform well academically. That's what it's all about. So
that's right.
Again, in Florida, we had a lot of liberal Democrats on the school boards. Governor DeSantis got involved in it. And guess what? The school boards were flipped. They were flipped in Florida. And again, that's another reason why kids in Florida are educated now. They're not indoctrinated.
Yes.
And so anyway.
All right, Bob. Thank you for
John,
the call.
Take care.
Thank you. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. 609-407-1450. We have a rare moment here. Some open lines, 609-407-1450. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Good to have you along here for the ride. 609-407-1450, again, is the number. We will get back to more of Talk with a Purpose in just a moment. But first, I got to tell you, when it comes to BF Mazzeo, there are so many things that they have. This is just a little thing. And it really saves you a lot of work. I needed cut onions and celery and carrots. I needed it for something a couple of weeks ago. And they have cut onions, cut celery, cut carrots. I mean, it's all right there. I mean, there is so many things that they have that you don't know about. And if you don't go there often or you don't look around, and I didn't know they had it until, I happened to be looking for something else and they had it. So it's just no end to the specialties that they have at BF Mazzeo. 601 New Road, Northfield, and online at bfmazzeo.com. And of course, we talk about the prepared foods, the baked goods, the specialty items, All of it right there in one place. BF Mazzio, 601 New Road in Northfield. And we're getting ready for Mother's Day. You want to send a gift basket, a fruit basket, in addition to something else for Mom. Feel free to do that. But that's a nice extra gift. And I'm sure she will like that. Fruit flowers, the fruit flower arrangement, you walk right in and you see it right there. It's terrific. There's no other way to describe it. Check it out for yourself. BF Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield. Online at bfmazzio.com. bfmazzio.com is the website. And we will come back with more of Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
If you're interested in driving one of the finest automobiles on the market today, then you'll want to check out all of the fabulous new and pre-owned Lexus at Lexus of Atlantic City. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Driving a Lexus is like no other vehicle on the market. Test drive one for yourself at Lexus of Atlantic City. Whether it's new or pre-owned, you'll be more than satisfied. In fact, Lexus is consistently #1 when it comes to customer satisfaction. Visit Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Or you can check out their outstanding selection of new, pre-owned, and L-certified pre-owned vehicles on their website, LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. That's LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. Or, if you want more information, call 609-641-0008. Lexus of Atlantic City, now celebrating their 26th year in the area. A dealership that you'll enjoy. No pressure, no gimmicks, no hassle, no hype. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. And remember, always online at LexusOfAtlanticCity.com.
Your WPG Talk Radio 95.5 AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. For today, a shower in the area early. Otherwise, clouds of mild, breezy by afternoon. High today, 69. Clear to partly cloudy tonight, low 38. Partly sunny, a cooler day tomorrow. The high at 56. Clear skies tomorrow night, low 36. And then mostly sunny, warmer on Monday. The high Monday afternoon at 65. I'm AccuWeather's Steve Williams on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose, if you want to email me during the week, jdadv1 at Comcast.net. jdadv1 at Comcast.net. Feel free to send me anything you like. Program suggestions, pro or con, or whatever. We take them all on. jdadv1.net. I forget my own email. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. Denny Levinson, Atlantic County Executive, coming up at 10 o'clock this morning. We look forward to that. Always good to have Denny on the show, and he'll give us an update on what's happening as far as what's happening in the county. Have you heard a Donald Trump versus Joe Biden debate? Could it happen? Okay. 12 news organizations on Sunday urged Joe Biden and Donald Trump to agree to debates, saying they are a rich tradition that have been part of every general election campaign since 1976. Trump has said he is willing, but the reality is Joe Biden has not committed to anything. Can you imagine Joe Biden debating? He couldn't get a sentence out, let alone debate. I mean, I'd like to see it happen, but I don't think it's going to happen. Oh, and then asked whether he would commit to a debate. Joe Biden said, "It depends on Trump's behavior." It depends on Trump's behavior. It depends on your behavior, Joe. We'll see. But I'm very, very skeptical of it happening, and we'll see what does happen. But it's true that there's been a tradition, presidential debates, since way back when. I can remember the 60s. We had the Kennedy-Nixon debates, I mean, and on and on. But now we're begging for them. Trump versus Biden. We'll see. We'll see what happens. 609-407-1450. It's Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. We took up this survey a couple of weeks ago, and seems to be a sort of revival of this. Who do you think Trump's vice presidential candidate will be? And I saw an article this week, and it said Texas Governor Greg Abbott. That is an interesting choice. And of course, the people of Texas don't want him to go because they want to keep him there. We'll see. But we had, Tim Scott is a possibility. Kristi Noem, Tulsi Gabbard. Now Greg Abbott. Who knows? We'll see. Who will Trump pick for his vice presidential candidate? So we can talk about that as well. 609-407-1450. I got an email this week and from a listener. His name is Howard. And he said, hell hath another recipient, O.J. Simpson. Enough said. Boy, I tell you, that's true. That is certainly true. 609-407-1450 here on Talk with a Purpose. Denny Levinson coming up at 10 o'clock this morning, and we'll ask him a variety of questions. And Seth was talking about, and I really didn't plan on talking about this, but the situation of the school boards and what they're deciding to do and what they're saying is being allowed to be read. And as Seth was saying, it Mark Twain and Huckleberry Finn and all of that stuff is not going to be allowed, and they're going to be picking books that are conducive to transgender policies. I mean, this is it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And I can't believe that they're saying that. 609-407-1450. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Let's talk to Phil in Little Egg Harbor. Phil, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Thanks. Good morning.
Morning.
I think it's time for President Trump to drop out of the race and get Ron DeSantis as president and Tim Scott as vice president, and you'll win. Because I have a funny feeling they're not going to win with Trump.
Why is that? Why is that?
Because there's too much against him verbally and all the other stations. And they're trying to make him look bad. And I've heard some people say that they just don't like his attitude. Don't ask me why.
Yeah, well,
I like everything he does.
I do too. Yeah, I do too.
But I see so much against him in stupid ways. It doesn't make sense, but it makes sense for to a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, liberals. Yeah, liberals. That definitely makes sense. Yeah,
and the Pennsylvania and was the other state Wisconsin?
Yeah,
they're both very close in the race.
Yeah, I think it's like it's like 0.5. I think he's behind in Pennsylvania, and he's ahead in Wisconsin. Yeah, but it's like real close. With
the terrible things that this president has done, Trump should be ahead. In everything
by miles.
By miles.
You're right,
and he's not. Don't you understand? He's not.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right on. I mean,
they've got to get him out of there and make him Secretary of State when they get in, because DeSantis will win, and then make Trump Secretary of State, and he'll run the whole joint anyway.
Well, that's an interesting theory.
Okay,
Phil, thanks for the call. Secretary of State. Well, no matter what, I mean, he would have an influence no matter what he does. But yeah, I think he should be ahead by miles, but he's not. I mean, it's just this thing, this Trump thing that they have. I don't know. It's just people have a perception that, oh, he's bad. Trump is horrible. Well, have you noticed, by the way, this morning, driving in, I noticed the gas station where I normally, I kind of can't miss the prices. $3.49 for regular unleaded. $3.49. What was it a couple weeks ago? It was $3.15. John is in Ocean City. John, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, I think Bobby Kennedy Jr. should be his pick for VP, but that's just my humble opinion.
Yeah. Well, that won't happen.
No, I guess not. But anyway, last week, a caller had called in, and it was discussed about the London Crier, stating that Zelensky bought the Highgrove house for 20 million pounds, which is 25,276,000 American dollars, and it was likened into the National Enquirer. Well, that's not even that's comparing apples and oranges, because per British defamation law, you can get in big trouble for printing something that's not true. Here in America, if you say something defamatory about a person, it's up to that person to prove that what you're saying is false. However, that's because of our freedom of the press guaranteed in our First Amendment. However, in Britain, if you post something, you have to prove that what you posted was true. So if they're lying, they're in deep doo-doo. Anyway, Zelensky was an actor, a comedic actor, and now he's the president. Now per UAH, the Yuki dollar, they make 175. An average actor makes about 175,000 Yuki dollars, UAH. But if you convert that to American dollars, it's $439.53. Multiply that by 53 weeks. An actor makes about $23,000, $295 American in Ukraine. Now, that's not outrageous, because they do have a GDP that's equivalent to sub-Saharan African nations. They are dirt poor. A president makes about $2,269,598. And converted that in American dollars is only $57,000. Now, we'll say that Zelensky's the cat's meow of all actors, and nobody has ever governed Ukraine like Zelensky has. We'll say he's been making $100,000 from the time he turned 18 and got his break in the show entertainment field in Ukraine up to the present. He's 46 now. That's 28 years. 28 times 100,000. That's $3 million. Just shy of $3 million. $2,800,000. But Forbes has him listed as being worth $20 million. Because I feel like that old confidence game, the shell game's being played on us all. That's how I feel about it all. And there are actually, as poor as Ukraine is, there are actually luxury yachts that are docked on the Crimean Peninsula, and they all have hoisted the yellow and blue flag. That's the Ukrainian flag. So there are Ukrainian oligarchs that are worth millions of dollars in a dirt poor country. That looks suspicious to me too. So it's not beyond reason to suppose that this guy owns Highgrove Mansion and his wife went on some wild spending spree in Europe, Western Europe somewhere. It's not beyond reason to say that this is true. Now, can you prove it? Now, you think that unless he's going to hold up a deed to the Highgrove house, you must be out of your mind if you think that. But the thing is that I'm going to bring it up again at the risk of sounding like a magpie. Lieutenant Colonel Sargis Sangari, stationed in the Near East, Middle East, military intelligence stationed in the Near East, Middle East, and Eastern Europe, where Ukraine is, said billions and billions and billions of dollars passes through sticky figures, starting here in America with members of the military-industrial complex. And if you say that that's not so, there's 600,000 dead Ukrainian soldiers right now. And they're actually putting women into battle, pregnant women into battle, and kids that have they're autistic kids that are just turned 18 years old into battle. So, we don't belong in that stinking place. Frank is wrong as usual. Thanks.
All right, thanks. I guess we'll have another debate between Frank and John. Craig in Northfield. Craig, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Well, good morning, John. I just want to say the caller before not this last caller, but the other caller,
yes, Phil,
said he liked Donald J. Trump and thought, well, we better get put somebody else there. I think he forgets ABC, CBS, NBC, and MSNBC. No matter who it is on the Republican ticket, they're going to get squashed by the media. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
So, yes, we have some difficulties here. We have, let me see, that trial where Cohen paid Stormy Daniels that money, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't want to take that. But then they made a new law, so they could come and get him.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
All right. So, look, I got to be honest with you. Anybody know where you can get 24 acres beachfront for $18 million? Let me know.
Okay.
I mean, really,
Yeah.
let's just talk about how absurd this is. So, when you say that Donald Trump isn't that popular, when he went down to that little food store in New York, in the Spanish section, what was he getting? Cheers.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
From the Spanish people.
Yeah.
And when Joe Biden was in Pennsylvania, did you see all the people that surrounded him? I mean, the sea of people when Joe Biden was there talking about the steel business in Pennsylvania. Did you see all those union guys behind him? The 200,000 people or 40,000 people?
In your dreams.
There you go. So let me just say this.
Hurry up, Craig, because we're coming up on...
We got to be careful about what happens, with this election. We not allow us not to go and check the votes, because 300,000 votes in Pennsylvania don't come in the middle of the night and not one of them be for Donald J. Trump. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
All right. You still owe me a dinner.
Okay. Well, you'll collect.
Later.
Okay. Thanks.
I doubt it.
Thanks for the call. Thanks for the call. We've been talking about this dinner forever. Oh, hour number one rapidly is coming to a close. I mean, it just flew by. And hour number two, Atlantic County Executive Denny Levinson. We'll look forward to that. I'm John DeMasi. More Talk with a Purpose in just a couple of minutes. Don't go away.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Hour number two, Talk with a Purpose, every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. And as the man said, I'm John DeMasi. Good to have you with us. We are awaiting the arrival of Denny Levinson, Atlantic County Executive, and he'll be here shortly. So we look forward to that. But in the meantime, 609-407-1450. You want to jump in here real quickly. Just him? Okay. Okay. Well, table that. Oh, timing is everything in life, isn't it? 609-407-1450. We'll pick up on your calls after. Well, of course, if you have questions for Denny, feel free. 609-407-1450. He is here, Atlantic County Executive Denny Levinson. Denny, welcome to the show.
Thank you, John. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here. And it's a pleasure to have you as the Atlantic County Executive because, once again, you've reduced taxes. You have, haven't you?
I have, John, and along with the hard work of our Board of Commissioners and my administrative staff, we have once again lowered the tax rate, and we're looking at about a nickel. We have just under 3 cents last year, and this year about a nickel of the general purpose tax. So we're feeling pretty good about it. The county's in great shape, and I've said it many, many times, and we've proven it time and time again that this is the finest run county in the state of New Jersey.
And I've not only heard that from you, I've heard that from many people. So it's not just you saying that. It's a lot of people say that. Maybe we should get you to run for governor. What do you think?
John, a man has to know his limitations, John. And that would be the Peter principle personified. I'm satisfied where I am, and let's just go on that. Governorship, first of all, I'd have to go to Trenton. That is out of the question.
Right. I don't blame you there. Speaking of the tax, now what does that mean for the average person? I mean, you said a nickel and then 3 cents the year before, so that's a total of like 8 cents. So what does that mean in terms of dollars for like the average taxpayer? Could you just give us a ballpark?
I sure will. If every town was assessed properly, they would all realize that nickel decrease, but they're not. Some assessments in certain towns have fallen tremendously, and under those circumstances, some of them are not going to realize what we've done here. And just a commercial right now from me. For years, I've been trying to get a county-wide assessment program, and it has been turned down continually by, many of the commissioners don't want it, and many of the towns don't want it. They want to hire their own assessor. Now, if it were a county-wide assessment, you wouldn't have, I think there's 17 assessors in our 23 municipalities. If we had a county-wide, everybody would be at 100%. So everyone would realize the savings. And under the circumstances right now, since their assessments have fallen, then consequently, not every town would realize it. But if they would, once again, discuss a county-wide assessment program, as I'd like to see, they would be better off. But, we live in a state, John, that unfortunately has this home rule idea that we need 23 of everything. We need the superintendents of schools. We need this, police chiefs, fire chiefs, everything that you can possibly think of. I tried to put together a municipal court system. Only have 10 towns that joined it. But everybody loves their superintendent of schools. They love their judge. They love this. They love that. I don't think they can even name who they are. But it's the powers within these towns that have balked on any type of consolidation, and you can just wonder why. They want their own judge. They want their own prosecutor. They want their own administrative staff. And that's costly.
Sure. Where is that? Is that still alive, the county-wide court system? Or
It is alive. Not only is it alive, it's thriving. And we feel that there's going to be other towns coming on board right now because the way the legislation was written, it was written that we could not be as successful as we should be. But thanks to Senator Palestina, he did get this corrected in the state legislature, and so now we're going to save even more. Every single town that joined the municipal court system has saved money, and now that we're not going to have to take the state cases, we're going to save even more. So maybe other towns will join in. But I've had towns say to me, we want to be able to appoint our own judge. Now, you can think to yourself, John, why you would want your own judge that is appointed and, of course, answers to you.
Yeah.
And the prosecutor who is appointed that answers to you. I don't want to speculate on why that occurs, but out of the 23 towns, we only have 10 towns that are in our municipal court system, which is working extraordinarily well.
Well, I guess you'll continue to fight for this.
I will, but it's up to the municipalities. It's up to the mayors of the town to go on. And plus, we just saved another $650,000. In the beginning, I wanted retired police officers in the municipal court rather than the sheriff's officers, and we were fought on that by the commissioners. And, I don't rule by decree. And they decided they wanted sheriff's officers in there, which, of course, was extremely expensive. Hiring retired state policemen or that is much cheaper. You don't have to give them medical or any of the things that go along with that. They're already pensioned. And eventually, see, the argument was this. The sheriff's officers take care of the courts. That's by statute. But they take care of the state courts, county courts. This is not a county court. This is a municipal court.
Yes.
So it dawned on them, and the mayors agreed that we would go with the state retired police officers, and that was a savings right there of $650,000.
Wow. Well, that's why it's a well-run county.
Thanks, John.
I wanted to ask you about your stand and the county's stand on these offshore wind projects. Now, I understand there was a meeting the other night, and I saw your Jerry Del Rosso. He was quoted in there. Don't they know you're on the radio? Do they want equal time?
I just picked up a new one, another stray, so another rescue. He'll figure it out.
Okay, all right. We can have a dog hour. I mean, if you want, Denny.
Anything you want, John. Okay. I'm at your command.
Okay. So the commissioners were asked to take a strong stand against the wind projects. Can you kind of make sense of all this, and can you elaborate on it?
I can elaborate on it, and if you asked me this question 24 hours ago, it would have been a different answer. But the courts have just decided, as bizarre as it may seem, that the towns that were suing against the windmills, that's Ventnor and Brigantine come to mind, the courts said they have no standing. I'm going to repeat that. They have no standing in this. It's going to be off their shores. 200 turbines are going to be off their shores without being proven that they are going to save money, would be safe, would not jeopardize our fishing and tourism industry, would not hurt our mammals. But the courts decided and that these towns have no standing to challenge this. Now, why did they do this? Well, they might have done it because they believe that. Or they might have done it because, judges are lawyers in robes, and the state of New Jersey, the governor wants it, and the president of the United States wants these offshore turbines. So consequently, the towns that don't want it have no standing according to the courts. And that is extremely unfortunate because I do have serious reservations about these turbines, what the effect will have. And to get the power out to the turbines, you have to go through the towns. You got to dig up the streets. And you're talking about something that may or may not be effective. And I have a problem with it. It's the county executive. I know they brought it before the freeholder board. The commissioner board, which is now called, last Tuesday. And the one that spoke up the loudest was Frank Ballas, who is against it, and Maureen Kern also has mentioned that there's we asked for a moratorium, the commissioners did, on these turbines, but it does not look positive for the towns right now because of the courts who just, I think yesterday, decided that towns have no standing. Can you imagine?
How could they say that? How could they say, I mean, I live in Brigantine. I mean, how could they say that the town has no standing if it's going to be right off your beach? That doesn't make sense. No. I mean, maybe you can explain it to us, but I
will try. Let's put it this way. Somebody said, well, gee, what a hypocrite Levinson is. He put up those turbines out there at the ACUA. They are the first on land turbines in the country. We've saved millions of dollars with these. They're only 385 feet, and they produced energy for our wastewater plant out at the ACUA. So it's far different. Now, I'm going to repeat again, 385 feet. Those they want to put offshore, follow this, are taller than the Empire State Building.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Now, getting them there, getting there is not half the fun here. I don't know how you even want to transport these damn things.
I don't either.
So that's where we are right now, and there's powers in this country that want to see this regardless. They want to do away with all types of fossil fuel and our energy. And by the way, we want to compete in the world. The Chinese are building a coal plant every month, one coal plant over in China. They're going to have energy and plenty of energy, and we're going to be deciding whether the sun's going to shine or not.
Yeah, it's disturbing. I agree with you. Someone wants to talk to you, Denny, so we're going to take a phone call. Greg in Absecon. And Greg, good morning. You're on with County Executive Denny Levinson.
Sid Massey, good morning. Mr. Levinson, good morning. I hate backtracking, but the denomination of the 5 cents, what denomination is that being taken out of?
The general purpose tax.
And that is it incrementally out of, like a $10 bill, $5 bill, $100 bill,
Well, I don't want to deceive you on this because every town, as I said, is not going to realize that savings. There are towns that even their municipal taxes are going up a few cents. When you stop and think about it, Longport's up 2.9 cents. EHT 1.6. Galloway's 1.1. All Margate's up 3.7 cents. So it's taken out of a general purpose tax. Now, what is a general purpose tax? It is the tax that we fix our roads, we fix our bridges, we take care of our school systems. This is our school, the county school systems. That's what it's taken out of. It is deceiving because everyone is not going to realize that, Greg. Now, when I just gave you those numbers for those towns are their municipal taxes increase. You have, I'm going to get complicated right now, and let me put it, I don't want to sound condescending. Our founding fathers gave us a government that was close to the people, not one that was efficient. If it was efficient, you would not have municipal government, county government, state government, and federal government. This is how that works. It's a complicated process, but this is the way they decided to do it. The government that governs closest to the people is the best. But it is not efficient. It's extremely expensive. And the fact that we are lowering it 5 cents this year and 3 cents last year does not necessarily mean you're going to realize that unless you live in a town that assessment is at 100% or above. If you are at 100, some towns have fallen to 60, 70%. So consequently, you're going to be paying more because your assessed value has dropped. If your assessment has dropped, you do not experience the savings that will be given to the other towns that haven't. And as I said earlier, if you were listening, that if the towns would get together and decide they want the county to do the assessment, instead of having 17 or 18 assessors throughout the 23 towns. And they want to keep their assessors. They don't want to change it. But if they came into a countywide assessment, which, by the way, I haven't been successful in everything. I wanted 911 dispatch to be countywide. A municipal court I wanted, but I only got 10 of the 23 towns. I also want to see countywide assessment, which at this present time, the county, the municipalities do not want. So under those circumstances, you're going to pay more until they get their heads out of the sand and realize this is 2024, not 1850, where home rule meant something. It means nothing now except you're going to pay too much money. And New Jersey is a home rule state. They decide for themselves, each municipality. Hope I wasn't too long-winded, Jeff.
Thanks, Greg. Thanks for the call, and thanks, Denny. Denny, we're going to take a break here. We got to pay some bills, and we'll come back to you because we got a lot more questions. Atlantic County Executive Denny Levinson is our guest here on Talk with a Purpose. And if you have a question for Denny, this is the time to call in. 609-407-1450. 609-407-1450 is the number. I'm John DeMasi. More Talk with a Purpose and Denny Levinson in just a moment. But first, we got to talk about the good stuff. Lexus, courtesy of Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Online at aclexus.com, aclexus.com. And I'll tell you a little story. A friend of mine was, I told her, you can drive. We're going somewhere today. And she drives a totally different vehicle. And she got in this car, and she said, this is like floating. I said, yeah, that's what it's like. You see, it's really driving a Lexus is like no other. She said, yeah, I really love this. So maybe I'll convert her. Who knows? But you get the idea. A Lexus is like driving no other car. I mean, it just that's true. It just kind of floats. It's like you're not driving on anything. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. You can check them out online at aclexus.com. You see all the models right there, and you see the SUVs and the sedans and the hybrids and all of that stuff. And you can kind of see what you want and what fits your needs, and you can just kind of go there and check it out. That's the best thing I can tell you to do, is go there and check it out. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road, EHT. No pressure, no hype, none of that stuff. Oh, this other guy's coming in to talk to you. The TO guy takes over, and you got to buy this car now because the guy's coming in this afternoon. You know the drill. It doesn't happen there. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road, EHT. Online at aclexus.com. We're coming back with more with Atlantic County Executive Denny Levinson in just a moment.
I'm Seth Grossman for libertyandprosperity.com. Everyone who lives near the ocean or the bay knows that we have a bad storm and flooding about every 20 years. Some people want their shore houses built on pilings. However, others like me would rather pay for major repairs and improvements every 20 years than walk up and down an extra set of steps every day. At one time, Americans were free to decide what kind of house we lived in, but not anymore. If you live in any shore town from Brigantine to Cape May, you may not get a permit for new bathrooms or a new kitchen unless you first spend another $75,000 to raise your house 14 feet off the ground. Learn the details and what we can do about it. Visit libertyandprosperity.com. Help us reach more people. Join our weekly breakfast. Donate what you can to keep us on the air and online. libertyandprosperity.com.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose, Atlantic County Executive Denny Levinson is our guest here on the show. And if you have a question for Denny, 609-407-1450, 609-407-1450. One of your favorite bills, Denny, what's the status, or is there the pilot bill? Any update on that?
Yeah, there is. We're still getting screwed by the state, and we keep winning in court, which means nothing to the state of New Jersey, because each time we win, the state appeals it, which means they're spending more and more of your money and our money, which is, it's all our money. But the state, as an individual, John, if you went to court, or Denny Levinson went to court, and you lose in court, you have a right to appeal. It's a very expensive process. It's an expensive process going to court the first time. But you have a right to appeal. And if you lose again, you have a right to appeal. But by that time, most people's their bankroll is gone. But the state of New Jersey is using our money. Now, 3 times the Superior Court has ruled in our favor on this pilot bill. Now, years ago, there was a different pilot bill. I took on Chris Christie, a Republican governor, to show that it's equal. I took on a Republican governor. They lost, and they owed us, the taxpayers of this county, $30 million, which they paid. This time, another pilot bill came up because the casinos cried poor mouth. They threatened that if they don't get this pilot bill through, that they're going to have to close casinos, thousands of people will be thrown out of work, and the state legislature, bought that hook, line, and sinker. So consequently, they passed this pilot bill, which at this present time is costing the taxpayers of Atlantic County $14 million. Now, there's 21 counties. Atlantic County taxpayers are the only ones that are getting hit with this because the casinos pay taxes into us. And, of course, with this pilot, that the pilot is payment in lieu of taxes, P-I-L-O-T. So they worked out a deal that every town gets hit because of this. They blamed it on COVID. They had to make up. They're a business. But plenty of mom and pops got hit by COVID also. Plenty of restaurants closed. Why just the casinos? So of the 23 municipalities that we have here in Atlantic County, only Atlantic City benefits from this. The rest of us all have to pay. Now, if you think that's fair, think again. And again, in case it didn't sink in, 3 times we have won in court. 3 Superior Court judges have decided that the state is wrong, the county is right. Now, their preposterous comments from the state are, Levinson's always bragging about how great the county is and how the taxes are, they don't need it. The casinos do. Well, that's a lot of bull. We have people that live in this county. This is, by the way, Atlantic County is the 3rd poorest county in the state of New Jersey behind Salem and Cumberland. We do need the money. And who are they to say we don't? And, because of our efficiency, we should get punished.
Yeah.
So that's where we are right now, John. We win, and we win. And as Donald Trump said, are you tired of winning?
Yes.
Yeah, we're tired of winning. We'd like to get a result.
Oh.
It doesn't happen, John.
I'm telling you. It's a never-ending thing. We have a caller. Lance wants to talk to you. Lance in Galloway. Lance, good morning. You're on Talk with a Purpose with Atlantic County Executive Denny Levinson.
Hi, a gracious good morning, John, and distinguished Mr. Levinson. I have 2 things. Number one, John, I want to ask you a favor. If you could allow Mr. Levinson maybe 5 minutes near the end of his hour to share his acute knowledge of history and try to parallel what's going on with our former president and any other earlier presidency during that time, with the media and the constant attack. And, I understand social media has been around just a few decades, but I'd just like to get your personal viewpoint as a history man that knows his history, that's all.
Okay.
And the other one is, in regards to the pilot program, do you think the new appointing of former Sheriff Eric Schiffler is going to help create a guide where the money will go? That's basically it. And I thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a pleasant weekend. And
thank you.
Share it with those that matter most.
Thank you, Lance.
Count your blessings. Bye-bye.
Thank you for the call. Denny?
I don't know. Eric Schiffler, for those of you that don't know, is the former sheriff that lost the last race to Joe O'Donoghue. And he has recently been appointed as the head of CREDA. What that will do for our pilot bill, I don't think a whole lot. And I'm going to use history, if I may. Every person that is the head of CREDA has had to succumb to what the state of New Jersey wants. And that's what it comes down to. Many of the things that come before CREDA, it is discussed in committee, and the committees are told this is what Trenton wants. So for the most part, I would say 99% of the things that they decide on are decided because of what Trenton makes it very clear what they want CRETA to do, and they do. Eric Scheffler's a good man. He's an honest man, and we'll see what happens there. But it will have nothing to do with the pilot. In fact, to go back to the pilot once more, the judges have made it clear to the state of New Jersey, look, enough is enough. You're pissing away the people's money with these appeals, and sit down with Levinson and see if you can come to a compromise. Now, why not sit down and talk? Well, the state of New Jersey does not even answer. They say nothing. They won't contact us. They ignore us when we call them. I have not spoken to the state of New Jersey about this pilot bill since the governor's been in. And this is the end of his second term. They refuse to speak to us about it.
Boy.
Now, that's government, isn't it?
Yeah, geez. I didn't realize it was that bad.
It absolutely crickets. Nothing. Well, first of all, if you know you're wrong, what's the sense in sitting down?
Yeah.
And so, once again, if we win again, they're going to appeal it again. And the longer they appeal, the more benefit they get from this. But this time, when we beat them the last time, I say to my staff, especially my legal staff, how much is this going to cost us to win? We won that last case and got $30 million, but it cost us $300,000 court cost to win. So, welcome to a system that has gotten totally and completely out of hand. When me, as the CEO, the county executive, has to ask my legal staff if we have a problem legally, how much is this going to cost us to win? Then I have to adjust what we're going to do under the circumstances. It's, all I can say is this: welcome to New Jersey.
Jeez. We have a couple calls, and I'm going to get to them in just a minute, Denny, but I got a follow-up question. Speaking of the pilot, the East Coast Gaming Conference happened this week, and I heard rumblings, and I just want to say it's rumblings. The casinos are getting ready, and this is my opinion, they're getting ready to start crying again, because they're talking about 3 casinos in New York opening soon, and maybe even the Meadowlands coming back with another North Jersey casino. So are you getting prepared for more crying and more aggravation with this thing, or what?
For us to win that last case, I had to go out of town, and I got the dean at the Seton Hall, Ron Riccio, to represent Atlantic County. He is a constitutional scholar, and we won because of his expertise against, by the way, the casinos have the best lawyers in the country. I mean, they can afford it, and they're on retainer. But our new attorney, my county counsel coming in right now, is Lynn Hughes. Lynn Hughes was the legal counsel for Caesars International, and she will be coming on board because my present counsel is retiring, Jim Ferguson. So we're really getting a heavyweight in our legal department. So I'm very pleased that she's coming on board, and she knows how the game is being played, and I feel very confident. She's on board right now, following Jim Ferguson and learning the ropes of going into county government from her expertise for years and years representing Caesars International. So that should mean something. But the casinos themselves are extremely bright, extremely rich, the best lawyers you could possibly get. And when we won this last case, the dean of the law school there at Seton Hall, he ran circles around the state of New Jersey in court. Finally, they succumbed and settled. It was so you fight fire with fire. I'm doing the best I can, but I'm fighting City Hall. I'm not fighting City Hall. I'm fighting Trenton, and they're tough. I mean, it's especially tough because they won't speak to you.
Yeah, I just saw this. The thing in the paper was about the casinos that were down in profits, like they were down a couple of points, and I just thought, and then they had the convention. I'm thinking, they're setting us up for a crying towel, and that's what I'm figuring on that they're going to be doing. That's just why I wanted to say that.
Well, how's this, John? If they're so interested, Trenton is so interested in saving the casinos and giving them tax breaks at the expense of the ordinary taxpayer, mom and pop, why don't they pass legislation that there will be no gaming at the Meadowlands?
Right.
We're not going to compete with Atlantic City.
Right.
If New York gets the casinos, they get them. There's nothing we can do about it. It's another state. But let's see them stand tall and say, Meadowlands, you're not going to have gaming at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. So if you want to gamble in New Jersey, table games and the rest of that, you got to come to Atlantic City.
That's right.
Once again, John, crickets.
Yeah.
Wouldn't the state legislature say, yeah, let's do this? No, they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
New York's going to get 3, and the likelihood of the Meadowlands getting gaming is very good.
Yeah.
So let's see them stand up and say no. Let's fight against it.
Even though it was shot down by the voters by 3-1. 3-1.
And lots of times the voters are ignored. The reason the casino gaming passed in Atlantic City, the sole purpose was to revitalize Atlantic City.
Right.
Well, drive around Atlantic City. Tell me how it's been revitalized.
Yeah, that's true.
John, I have a theory there, and that's how I got into politics. When they said that the casinos have to be 500 rooms, I was for that. But I wasn't for the fact that they were going to have 5 or 6 restaurants, a beauty parlor, a barbershop, a shoe store, a jewelry store, everything you can think of within those walls of that casino. So consequently, what they did with many of the thriving businesses that we've had in the town, just died. It killed Pacific Avenue. It killed Atlantic Avenue because nobody had to go out of the casino to get anything.
Right.
And that's what I felt was a problem there. If it's to revitalize Atlantic City, they didn't do too hot because, if anything, the circumstances in the city has gotten worse business-wise. Walk down Atlantic Avenue, walk down Pacific Avenue and see where it was. The legislature dropped the ball there to allow the fat cats, the guys with all that dough, to build a structure, 500 rooms, and have every single amenity, massage parlors, spas, everything you could think of where these people could go out in the street and get when they came down here to recreate. That's what killed Atlantic City. It didn't revitalize it. All it did is revitalize the pocketbooks of the casino industry.
That's right. Let's go to the phones, Denny. Andrea wants to talk to you. Andrea, you're on with Atlantic County Executive Denny Levinson.
Well, good morning, John, and shalom, Denny. It's Andrea.
Thank you. Hi, Andrea.
Yes. First of all, I'd like to say a lot of things that you're talking about can be explained a lot better if you are an Atlantic County Republican and choose to join a Republican club. Gray and I joined the Summers Point Republican Club 2 years ago, and it's absolutely so amazing and so educational. We get Joe Girallo who comes in, Jim Curcio, we get Joe O'Donoghue, we have Maureen Kern, we have, Kirk Garrett. All these people come in and explain to you exactly what's going on and how important it is for all of us to really understand, like you're trying to explain, what's going on. What do you think of these Republican clubs?
Well, one of the reasons I believe one of the greatest men that ever lived, George Washington. It sounds almost trite when you think of Washington. But one of the reasons that he did not run for a third term is because the factions that came up, the fights between Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton and John Adams, the idea that they started to become factions, that the Federalists against the Democrat Republicans, this became a problem. And consequently, the Constitution and our founding fathers had no inkling at all that this would occur. And in fact, in the beginning, the person that became the president of the United States obviously got the most electoral votes, but the person that came in second became the vice president. And that's the way it worked, because they believed that people of goodwill would be running the country and running for office. And unfortunately now, with my situation, if I have people say, gee, if you hire a Democrat, it's almost like I'm hiring a Nazi. The Democrat Party is not the enemy. They are another party. The Republican Party, you have Democrats that'll look at Republicans like we have horns. And it's gotten to a point where people become so enamored with their philosophy. I happen to agree with the Republican philosophy of conservatism, very, very much so. But the infighting, and by the way, look what happens with the parties, Andrea. You have now a Republican Party, which in the majority in the House of Representatives, and what are they doing? They're eating their own. I mean, it's almost, it would be comical if it wasn't so sad. They want to get rid of this speaker. They want to do this. They want to control. And that's where party politics have been, in my opinion, a problem for this country. And the brightest people we've ever had in this country were our founding fathers. They sat down and they put together a constitution, which has only been changed 27 times from the beginning in 200 and some years. So they did not want, they thought it was an anathema to have political parties and factions and fighting among themselves. And not only are the Republicans fighting with the Democrats and vice versa, Republicans are fighting with themselves. It's a sad commentary what's going on right now.
Denny, I wanted to mention, and it isn't funny, but I was thinking about this, with the recent crash in Baltimore at the Francis Scott Key Bridge. It put 8,000 people out of work. And what you're talking about is a heck of a lot more than 8,000 people. And I just want to close with this. I was very happy to hear when Joe O'Donoghue came to our meeting last Monday and explained that he would help protect our synagogues in Atlantic County. Thank you so much, Denny. Thank you.
Andrew,
Bye-bye.
thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks
By
for the
way,
call.
Andrea was a student of mine years ago, she and her sister, and her dad was an extraordinary guy. He was a fighter pilot and just a Runyon-esque type character. Mother was a beauty queen, if I remember correctly, and she was Miss Tennessee, and her dad was one of those swashbuckling jet fighter pilots. So there's quite a history there with that family.
Sounds good. We're going to take a little break here, Denny, and then we'll come back with you. John will be on with a question for Denny, and maybe you at 609-407-1450. I'm John DeMasi. More Talk with a Purpose with Denny Levinson after these words.
The finest fresh fruit and produce you'll find anywhere? Check. Award-winning gift baskets and fruit baskets? Check. Baked goods and prepared foods? Check. They check all the boxes. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield. And that's not all. Gourmet items, specialty foods, and catering for all occasions. It's all right there. Check them out online at bfmazzio.com. That's bfmazzio.com. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield.
Your WPG Talk Radio 95.5 AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. This afternoon, mostly cloudy, milder, breezy with high 69. Clear to partly cloudy tonight. That low dipping at 38. Cooler tomorrow with clouds and sunshine, high 56 to wrap the weekend. Come Monday, mostly sunny, warmer with high 65. Mostly sunny on Tuesday as well with high 64. I'm AccuWeather's Ruth O'Brien on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose, again, Atlantic County Executive Denny Levinson is our guest this morning, and we're happy to have him here for the hour. We have John in Ocean City. John, you're on with County Executive Denny Levinson.
John?
Yes.
Before I forget, before I take the call, Andrea brought up the Francis Scott Key Bridge. If you people ever go over the Betsy Ross Bridge, you'll see these big concrete structures that are in front of it to prevent something like that. That should have been there, would have been preventable, and a very, very, I don't think it's cheap, but most certainly in the long run, it would have saved. That's something that should be in every single area that can be. Just take a look at Betsy Ross. It's protected from anything like this could ever occur. But they didn't do it because they were penny wise and pound foolish.
Good point. Okay, let's go to John in Ocean City. John, good morning. You're on with Danny Levinson. Hello? John?
Yeah, hi, John.
No, John, is he there? No, he's not there. Okay. John consistently has problems with his phone. Wanted to ask you, by the way, I know you wanted to mention Stephen O'Connor. He's a new member of your staff. What is his role, and what is he going to be doing?
You know, sometimes you just flat out get lucky. And, it's tough to get help today. And I don't want to say help. It's tough to get some partners today that want to come in and work with the expertise that you need. It's tough to get workers. And just for an aside, I have 100 empty beds over at Meadowview. Can't get help. We're in a position now where you can't hire and you can't fire. But with a guy like Steve O'Connor, he was unanimously approved by the Board of Commissioners. He's been with us since January. He's working on special projects. And just for the background that we have, just like I said, our new county council was the regional legal counsel for Caesars International. O'Connor worked for Cape May County. He was administrative there, Middle Township, Cape May Point, the city of Wildwood. So, and he spent a lot of time as the interim director of the South Jersey Economic Development District. So we're pretty happy to have a guy like that who is willing to come in and hit the ground running. He's very, very close with the finest county administrator in the country, Jerry Del Rosso. And believe me, much of my success, and I do mean that sincerely, is Jerry Del Rosso. I don't know where we would be. I don't know if my reputation would be what it is if I did not have Jerry Del Rosso. I was most certainly blessed to have Jerry, and prior to him, Helen Walsh, and and to follow in the footsteps of Richard Squires. And I got a little breaking news for you, John.
Okay.
I am, rank has privilege. I am going to name the Veteran Cemetery after Richard E. Squires, my predecessor. This was his baby. He loved it. He was the one that formed it to begin with, and I think it would be fitting and proper forevermore to name the cemetery, the Veteran Cemetery, Richard E. Squires Veteran Cemetery. He was a veteran of the Korean War. He was on the USS Wisconsin. So this is something that I want to do, and I don't like to name things after people that are still alive. I don't think that's what should be done. I think they should be honored posthumously, and this is an honor that I know that Dick Squires would just love to have occurred.
Well, thank you, Denny, and thanks for breaking that right here. We have a lot of people who want to talk to you. Alex in Buna. Alex, you're on with County Executive Denny Levinson.
Yeah, good morning, John. Good morning, Mr. Levinson. The first thing I'll say, I live out in the borough of Buna, the far frontier. We have the best run and most cost-efficient county in the state. I work from High Point to Cape May, and I know that. And I think it's terrible what, in my opinion, what Mr. Palestina is trying to do here. I think he spends half his time in Florida. He ought to worry more about the county than his own aggrandizement. But I have a question for you. When Mr. Squire was the county executive, you see him riding around, and if people had signs that were blocking the view out on the county roads, or they planted bushes, I don't understand people. They plant these bushes, and you can't see. does the county check on that and tell these people that that people who come to a stop street have to be able to see to pull out, or do they still do that?
We absolutely do it. In fact, I've told all the departments, people come in from Buna, from Folsom, from Hamilton, and as you're driving, I want you to have a tablet next to you and write down what things have to get done. And it's a much more efficient way to do it. But, you know, Dick loved getting in the car and just driving everywhere and finding things. I used to refer to him as the road scholar. And he was something, you know, a guy like him, he hit the ground running. And he got out of the race in September and said to me, you know, I was very, very honored with all the people he could have chosen to follow in his footsteps. He chose me, and you know, I'll never forget you know, his friendship and his expertise. Look, I took over. It was like Casey Stengel, following Casey Stengel with the New York Yankees. So, and by the way, with Palestina, I don't want to fight with anybody, and you know, I'd like to get along, and as long as people want to get along, I'll get along. I hold no grudges, and you know, if it wasn't for, by the way, if it wasn't for Palestina, we wouldn't have been able to straighten out this municipal court. So I'm very pleased what he did. I want to work with people, and you know, I can't help what they have to say about me. That's their business, but my business is the people of this county, and I'm going to represent them the very best I can. And how is things in God country out there in Buna?
Well, the farmers are cultivating. They're getting ready, though the rain should give them a break now. But all the farms behind me and around me, they're going. And I'll just end it here, Denny, that I appreciate the job you do, and I'm more than satisfied. And my answer to the people who think that they're going to make it better, they're going to fix something that ain't broke, is Mr. Palestina, we're happy, leave it alone. Thanks, Denny.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks for the call.
Thank you very much. You know, you'll know when people are from around here, and when you hear the word Buna, everywhere else it's Buena. In fact, there was a battle during the Mexican War, the Battle of Buena Vista, where Zachary Taylor. But here in Atlantic County, it's Buna, and it's Buena Vista.
Yes.
And by the way, the city of Folsom. Folsom is named after Frances Folsom Cleveland, the wife of Grover Cleveland.
How about that? Another history lesson here.
Just an aside.
Okay. Linda and Absec. And Linda, you're on with County Executive Denny Levinson.
Hello, Denny. Hello, John.
Hello.
John, I heard you when we were up in Philly yesterday. Well, not Philly, around Voorhees and Cherry Hill. You were all over the radio up there. Great voice. You have a good voice for radio.
Yeah, well, 50 years. That's all it took me, you know, Linda.
And Levinson, well, you know, what can you say about Levinson? You know, I'll give you a great compliment for a change, right? You're a lot like President Trump. And don't you say anything. Even my husband says that. You are easy to understand. You're smart as a whip. And, yeah. You're and very easy to understand. And people gravitate to you. And because you tell them the truth.
You know, what's happening, Linda? What's happening with President Trump at this present time is nauseating. What he is going through. You know, and he doesn't have much of a chance. Now, outside of Fox News, which is usually on Trump's side, ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN, every single one of them are anti-Trump. It's pretty tough when you lose the media and their objectivity. You know, I'm in my 70s. And I remember John Cameron Swayze, Howard K. Smith, Leon Brinkley, and Walter Cronkite. No matter what you listened to, the news was objective.
Yes.
And we found out after Cronkite died what a die-hard liberal he was. We didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. He wanted the one world government bigly. So Just wanted to say, love you, Dennis.
Thank you.
Linda, God bless you.
Thank you,
very
Linda.
much.
Thanks for the call. Denny, we really appreciate you coming on. I mean, quickly, what was the caller Alex referring to with Senator Palestina? Was it the bill to restructure Atlantic City Council?
I don't know what it is. I'm yet to see the bill. And like I said, I'm not an antagonistic person. I believe that some things were said unfairly about me, but everybody, look, I can't get everybody to love me, and I don't wish to have anybody love me, but all I want people to realize is that I'm doing the very best I can for them, and my decisions I will live with, and I don't have any problem. Look, the leader of the party is Don Purdy, and our senator is Vince Palestina. And, I want to work with everybody. It's in the best interest of working. I don't want this party to get like it is in Washington right now.
Yeah, that's right.
They're taking stabs at each other. Holy mackerel. How do you fight when you have your own people stabbing you? Washington right now is a disgrace. And what the Republicans are doing to themselves is absolutely nauseating. And we have a chance right now to take over, and what do? We go after our own.
That's right.
And, the Democrats, they circle the wagons.
Yes,
no matter how
they sure do.
You are, they defend you.
Denny?
And, it's a shame.
Thanks again for coming on. We always appreciate you stopping by and spending some time with us, and we look forward to having you on again soon.
John, I'm at your beck and call.
Okay. Thank you. Denny Levinson, Atlantic County Executive, here on Talk with a Purpose, and really a lively hour, and we learned a lot about what's happening in the county. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG, Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Hour number 2, rapidly coming to a close, and it's in the books. Hour number 3 on the way. Don't go away.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Hour number 3, Talk with a Purpose, every Saturday, 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. And, of course, also heard on 1450 AM and online, WPGTalkRadio.com. All the ways you can listen. I'm John DeMasi. Good to have you with us for our final hour of the show. We have a lot to talk about here in this hour. We'll try to get to it all. But first, want to remind you, May 11th, Saturday, well, I'll be here, and hopefully you will be too. But later on that day, 5 o'clock, it's the Donald Trump rally in Wildwood. Yes, he returns to the scene. You going to go? Well, I'll be here, okay. But you going to go? I'm sure a lot of you will. But mark that down, and, if you want to comment on that, feel free to do that. We'll take some calls, then we're going to get to what we want to talk about this hour. Jimmy in Eagleswood. Hi, Jimmy. You're on Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning, John, and as always, thanks for taking my call.
Thanks, Jimmy.
I hope to make it back to Wildwood. I'm trying to put together a team to get there. I was there for his one a couple of years ago. It was very exciting, very cool. Listen, I had hoped to ask this of Mr. Levinson, but of course the phones. All I could get was a busy signal. He's gone, so everybody just left.
Yeah, that's right.
But I wonder if George Washington and his compatriots and the founding fathers had discussions with people who believed in killing babies a week before they're born. I mean, I understand why we need to speak to each other to get things done, but we've entered a new place on this planet. We've entered a new place in this country. We have congresswomen who think that the moon is made of gases. Sheila Jackson Lee. We have what Adam Schiff did to President Trump for years is disgusting. I'm supposed to have a conversation and get along with this guy. How about people who believe that adolescents can have their genitals mutilated? I mean, we're not talking 10, 20, 30 people. There's hospitals all over the country that are doing these procedures. These are hundreds of thousands of people who are morons. You can't have conversations with people who believe these things.
No, you really can't.
So
No.
So and again, John, please believe me. This is not an odd group of 1% of transsexual people who believe that that's a real thing. That's not what this is. These are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people. There's a single individual that runs the entire transsexual operation, runs the hospitals, and that person's name is Pritzker. She's the cousin of the governor of Illinois, and she. Born a he, is now a she, funds it with billions of dollars from her family's hotel chain.
Jeez.
How are you supposed to have a conversation with this person? What do you do? How do you sit down and speak to him, whatever the hell she is at this point in time?
You don't.
You think, I'm sorry, Denny, but we don't live in 1776 anymore.
Yeah, well, it is difficult. I don't know about you, but whenever I have a conversation with a liberal, and it's not often, but I'll say something and I'll say, oh, no, that's not true. Trump is this, Trump is that. Trump, whether it's about abortion or about anything else, it's very difficult to have a conversation with. It is. It really is.
Yep. And what's going on with Donald Trump and isn't Donald Trump? That's a question of misinformation. That's a question of people not hearing and smelling the truth. The other stuff I lined out, this is insanity. You want to kill a child the day before it's born? You want the rights to do that because you're a woman and you think that's your right? That's insanity, John. The other is just confusion.
Yeah, it's a...
Mr. Levinson was very cavalier with the fact that we don't get along. We don't get along because Marjorie Taylor Greene wants a goddamn accounting of our tax money, and they won't give it to her. They won't put it in the bills. She has a right to stand up for this.
That's right, she does.
Billions of dollars are going to Ukraine, and no one will tell us. You think Zelensky doesn't have vacation homes? My ass, he doesn't have vacation homes.
Oh, Jimmy, thank you.
You know how easy it is to pull a couple $100 million off $1 billion group of bag of money coming from the United States? It's easy, and they're all doing it. And Denny's got to realize this is not what it used to be. This is not the days of Walter Cronkite anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
John,
that's true. Thanks, Jimmy. Tough call. John in Ocean City. John, good morning.
Yeah, there's big money to be had in sex reassignment surgery, don't you know?
Yeah, there is
big money. Yeah, there is. That's why it's been going on. It's greed, the root of many evils, love of money. But I just want to make one correction from last week or maybe the week before. The path of totality from Mazatlan, Mexico, to Nova Scotia is not 5,584 miles. That's kilometers, and miles is 3,470,000 miles. So I just want to make that correction. No. 3,470 miles. That being okay. Anyway, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but Forbes has Zelensky listed as being worth $20 million. So there's no way he made that money as an actor in Ukraine or as a president. No way. It's not possible. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. But I wanted to bring up with Mr. Levinson was the fact that we're buying from the turbines down to the cables that brings that energy back to the mainland. That's all being bought from China. And it is ironic, of course, that they're building 2 coal plants a month. All right, so that's ridiculous. But people can't see that this is all about making money. A lot of money is going to be made out of putting these windmills up. We've already had alternative energy operative here in America, starting with the Tesla Niagara hydroelectricity plant in Niagara Falls, and then you had the aqueduct, the Los Angeles Aqueduct with 14 hydroelectric plants built into it. Then you had the Great Falls hydroelectric plant in North Jersey, which still provides electricity to most of North Jersey. So, yeah, we had that going on. But what happened was we had the discovery of oil, 1938 in Saudi Arabia. And without oil, there wouldn't have been a World War II. Hitler wouldn't have been able to wage that war against humanity like he did, But that's another story. But also the fusion torch was invented by Nikola Tesla was a Slavic American. And, of course, Margaret Sanger wanted to exterminate Slavic people, Italian people, Jewish people, and black people. So it's a good thing she didn't get her way, thank God. There wouldn't have been a Nikola Tesla. My Sicilian grandmother would have never been able to survive, too. So anyway, all that being said, it was two atomic scientists in 1968, American atomic scientists, Bernard J. Eastman and William C. Goh, and they invented the fusion torch. And the fusion torch would revolutionize green energy. But see, it's a shell game, like I said before. It's all that old confidence game. They put the P is never underneath the walnut shell. You'll never find it, because he's imperceptibly hiding the P from you. So that's what's going on here. We're being fooled big time. But how do you get the word across? The Republicans fighting Republicans, Democrats fighting Democrats, Democrats and Republicans fighting each other. The politicians have their heads up their backsides. So it looks like it's going to have to be a great awakening among we the people. Thanks for letting me call in again.
Thanks, John. Thanks for the call. Well, you put it that way. It's right. Everybody's fighting with everybody, it seems. But you know what? And maybe you'll think of it this way. No matter what, we always seem to come through, don't we? No matter what happens. I remember when I was in college, there were riots and there were people being killed on campus and so on and so forth, and I didn't think I'd live this long, to be honest with you. I didn't think I'd be here now. But we somehow managed to be here. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Last week, we talked at length about O.J. Simpson and his trial of the century, and also because of his death. And I believe it was Howard. He sent me, O.J. is now where he belongs. Or something like that. I'm paraphrasing. Enough said. He is where he belongs. But I watched a 5-part documentary, and it brought back some of the issues in that trial and the subsequent civil trial. This week, we were treated to a quote from his attorney. His name is Malcolm Laverne, who said that they, meaning the Goldmans and the Browns, wouldn't get anything as a result of the civil trial. They were owed $33 million back in 1997. Now it's up to over $100 million with interest. So if you figure 30 years, right? Interest. The families of Ron Goldman and the Cole Brown have gotten very little. The Goldman family can file a claim against Simpson's estate in an effort to extract some funds, but it's not clear how much they could ultimately receive. Now, according to several estate planning attorneys, the question is, will they ultimately get anything? I think they deserve something. Maybe not $100 million. Doesn't bring back to life. But I hope they do get something. But it seems to be doubtful. What do you think? Maybe we should get an estate planning attorney on here to kind of sift through this. But for 3 decades, we tirelessly pursued justice for Ron and Nicole. And despite a civil judgment and his confession in If I Did It, the hope for true accountability has ended. That was a quote from Kim and Fred Goldman, in a statement last week. I hope they get something out of it. Don't you? I mean, something? Anything? Boy, It's tough. But see, most of his income was in an NFL pension. Now he had, I understood he made $850,000 last year, but that was from personal appearances. So maybe that should be subject to the judgment. Who knows? But these legal things just. And you heard Denny Levinson say they won 3 times, but they appealed. The state of New Jersey appealed. So who knows? Linda in Absecon. Linda, good morning. Welcome back.
Hey, hi, John.
Hi.
I wanted to tell you, I was really moved by your compassion when you opened your show this morning.
Yes.
Regarding Marty Small and his wife and what they're going through. I mean, knowing nothing about it and knowing that it is a serious matter. The mere fact that when you said that what it is like raising children today,
jeez,
it was loaded, and I felt exactly what you were saying. It was just the fact that you thought of them like that and you worded it like that, and there's a lot of truth to what you said.
Yeah, well, I was in that a similar position, and I remember, a 16-year-old boy having sex with a 14-year-old girl.
Oh, really?
Who really said openly, "I want to marry him. I want his baby."
Mm-hmm.
This is 14. She's saying this, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do about this? And I'm sure that's what Marty and his wife were thinking about here with this. Luckily, she cheated on him and they broke up. That was a luck. But, I just don't know what you would do.
I feel quite sure with society and its permissiveness and the way it's moved along, I don't think the Smalls are alone by any measure.
No, they're not.
And one other thing, I liked O.J. Simpson. I really like O.J. Simpson, and he wanted to give himself up, and I don't know if it was definitely Bailey or one of the big shot attorneys there that or there's another big one that just slips my mind. Talked him saying, no, let's just go for this, but he wanted to turn himself in, and then we've often thought, I know even my husband, that if he had done what he wanted to do, turn himself in, then he'd probably be able to live better with himself,
Yeah.
But here's the thing, too, and he might have even gotten off, but or sometime in jail anyway. But here's the thing, I'm not even sure about that, because when you're talking about a double murder, I don't know how far you can go in that compassion area,
Yeah. Oh, so, I believe he definitely did it. He did it.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
But, I like the guy, and it must have been, they were divorced, right?
Yes.
He and Nicole.
Yes, they were.
So here you have a man maybe still love-stricken, and maybe, who knows why. All I know is he wanted to turn himself in, and lawyers convinced him not to. And I think he would have been better off had he been able to do that.
Probably would have. He would have been able to live with himself.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So,
Linda, thank you for the call. Appreciate it. We are coming up on a break here. Talk with the purposes of the show, Saturdays, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We'll talk to Bob and Kate May, and maybe we'll talk to you. Some open lines at 609-407-1450. We're coming back with more Talk with the Purpose in just a moment.
If you're interested in driving one of the finest automobiles on the market today, then you'll want to check out all the fabulous new and pre-owned Lexus at Lexus of Atlantic City. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Driving a Lexus is like no other vehicle on the market. Test drive one for yourself at Lexus of Atlantic City. Whether it's new or pre-owned, you'll be more than satisfied. In fact, Lexus is consistently #1 when it comes to customer satisfaction. Visit Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Or you can check Check out their outstanding selection of new, pre-owned, and L-certified pre-owned vehicles on their website, LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. That's LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. Or, if you want more information, call 609-641-0008. Lexus of Atlantic City, now celebrating their 26th year in the area. A dealership that you'll enjoy. No pressure, no gimmicks, no hassle, no hype. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. And remember, always online at LexusOfAtlanticCity.com.
We are back here on Talk with a Purpose, 609-407-1450. We're going to bring you a new town here in a few minutes. We'll explain that. Bob and Cape May. Bob, good morning. Welcome back.
Hey, John. The Simpson verdict there, it just shows you how, contrast that, the Goldman family got nothing now.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's because, Simpson moved to Florida because the Florida laws are it makes it very hard to collect the judgment.
Yeah.
Put most of his assets into his house. And so, again, it was just legal maneuvering, and again, Goldman family got nothing.
Well, wasn't his most of the income was the NFL pension?
Correct.
Which
and
I think
pension,
is protected.
Correct.
Yeah.
Protected, exactly. Judgment proof. Okay. So, but you contrast that with President Trump paid off a mortgage that Deutsche Bank in New York was thrilled to have Trump as a client. He paid it off, yet he's facing jail time because he paid off all his loans, almost all his loans.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know what happened with the casinos. Maybe they didn't do that well. I don't know. But anyway, Deutsche Bank in New York, they were happy. They were happy in a business relationship with President Trump. Yet he's the one that gets what was the judgment that Judge Ango moron? What was it? Was it $350 million?
Yes.
$400 million?
Yeah.
Some astronomical amount.
$450 it was.
$450.
Yeah.
So, again, where's the sense of proportionality? I mean, you're it's just insane.
Oh yeah.
And anyway, that's the point I wanted to make. It's just the OJ practically decapitates two people, and nothing happens. So our system of justice is just insane. We see it. We see it with the protected class. The Clintons get away with all sorts of improprieties and criminality. The Bidens, they get a free pass. It just. Hunter Biden will not spend one day in jail. We know
he will
that,
not.
Fred.
No, he will not.
Know that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, the system of justice is non-existent for Democrats. That's all I can say.
Well, and I'll tell you the it's not just Democrats too. The country. We do have a uniparty in this country. The establishment Republicans, they're in bed just as much as the Democrats are with the corruption. The threat that Donald Trump is he did not play ball. He did not play ball with the military-industrial complex. He's not playing ball with the corporate establishment that wants cheap labor in this country at the expense of the middle class. It's all these things where he did not go along, and Obama did. See, that's why Obama is living the high life.
Yeah, he is.
When Obama ran, there was real hope that the military. Remember, he was against the war in Iraq. He pounded Hillary Clinton with that. But then he fell in line because he knew what could happen to him. They probably told him, "Look, you go against us, we'll make life really difficult for you." he fell right in line.
Yeah.
That's the truth of this.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, Bob. Thank you for the call, as always. Thanks. Good stuff. Alex is in Bunea.
Yeah.
The reason I say that, Alex, Chris misspelled your town. He's put Bunea. Where is that? Near New Guinea?
Yeah, probably, which I'm glad you brought that up, John. Joe Biden's uncle, Bozio, died in the Second World War, and he did. What happened is they had mechanical difficulties, and the plane went down in the Pacific.
I was just going to do that story. I was just going to read that story. Yeah. It's really fascinating.
Holy Joe said that he crashed in New Guinea, and he was eaten by cannibals.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
But you know what? He's got a fertile imagination, but what gets me angry about that is the damn media knows this guy is lying. He lies to their face.
Yeah.
And other than foreign press, which checked the story out and found out that there was one survivor and what the facts of the thing were, the American news media, if Joe Biden ever stopped short, they'd have to get a proctologist to get their heads out of his rump because they never question anything he says. But I didn't call about that. I called about some other things. I just wanted to let you know my issue with Mr. Palestina has nothing to do with Atlantic City.
Okay.
What it has to do is we have an efficiently run county. I'm more than satisfied with the people in charge. Like I said, I've been in every county in the state, and Mr. Palestina apparently feels there's not enough people he knows in county government, so he's kibitzing. And he ought to just stick with what he knows. Anyway, I don't care for the man. I'm not going to lie. I have my own reasons. But anyway, let me get on with this. David called you from last week.
Yes.
Last week. And he did what a lot of lefties do. They start with a real nice thing. Hey, John, how are you doing? Were you affected by the earthquake? They show concern, and then they go in for the kill, telling you that you don't support law and order. You know, David, you're out there in California. I know someone that was just out in California visiting and doing some traveling, taking photographs. Listen to this, John. On the California side of the Nevada-California border, the gasoline was over $7 a gallon.
Oh.
On the Nevada side, listen to this. It was $3.52, so it was half. So, David, you stay there in California and keep breathing the air out there. You and your governor, and you people are, because you got Hollywood, and I say this, John, with all the sincerity you can find in Hollywood. Wink, wink. They have no conception of how the real world works.
No, they don't.
Anyway,
No, they don't. No, really.
I wanted to defend you and just end on this last thing. We've got trouble. China has 3 ships to R1. We've got trouble with Russia. We got trouble in Iran and in the Middle East. Our Navy is down to 292 ships. Even under Clinton, we had 50 ships more. You know what Holy Joe wants to do that there's so much trouble in the world? I guess he wants to put signs up telling us to use the proper pronouns. He wants to reduce the Navy by 50 more ships. This guy is incredible.
He's and yet, Alex, I'm afraid. I'm still afraid that he's going to get reelected. I really am.
Well,
as much as I can do and as you can do, but I'm just afraid he's going to get reelected.
Let me give you hope, John. Let me give you hope. I went and talked to a small businessman, and you deal with small businessmen.
Yes.
This guy, we had a long conversation. He's on the left. I'm more on the right. We agreed on some things. We didn't disagree. But you know what he told me? I can't vote for Biden. I can't stand him. And he told me that he maybe and his wife voted for Republicans twice. So there's always hope, John. Even Democrats realize that this guy is a putz and he doesn't know what he's doing.
That's right. Alex, thanks for the call again. We'll get to William and Steve in just a minute. I wanted to follow up what Alex was talking about in the beginning. Joe Biden I know you're going to be shocked at this. Joe Biden lied. Oh, no. So he's talking and he's saying something about his uncle was shot down during World War II over a region of New Guinea where cannibals had lived. But then factcheck.org checked it out. According to the records of that incident, it appeared Biden was lying? Oh, no, not Joe Biden. Biden had been honoring his uncle's memory. His uncle was Second Lieutenant Ambrose J. Finnegan, and he knows him as Uncle Bozzy. He flew a single-engine plane and in New Guinea, and it was shot down where there were a lot of cannibals. So he implied that they never recovered his body. But he wasn't. The fact is, he wasn't eaten by cannibals. It was just... Oh, and then there was another one. During a town hall meeting in December 22, he was trying to award his uncle Frank Biden a Purple Heart for service in World War II. Biden said he attempted to give his uncle, who is now deceased, the honor in 2008 while he was vice president. He was elected in 2008, but Biden didn't take office till 2009. According to factcheck.org, Frank Biden died in 1999. Oh, another false claim from Biden. Can you believe it? William and AC. William, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Yeah, John, I'm pretty sure I'm a liberal Democrat.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start out buttering you up right away. You know.
Okay. All right.
You know, I really enjoyed this show. Well, you know that.
Yeah.
You know, but it bears mentioning again. I listen quite often. I don't always call, but you know that the present Republican Party, that the Jim Jordan, the James Comer, the Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I mean, how embarrassing how low can you go? You know, these people are unbelievable. I bet you Republicans lose this House race by 50 votes. You know, the American people are watching this stuff. I don't know if, I know you watch it, but I don't know how much your local listeners, I don't know what they're thinking about. I mean, the way they take people's reputation and just every judge that comes before, every judge that Donald Trump comes before is this and that. They're all, I mean, the whole system of justice, every system that we have is no good, and the only person telling the truth is Donald Trump.
Well, what specifically? What is your gripe, William?
If you didn't grab enough out of what just I said, what's my gripe? There's no one thing. It's a whole. I watched those congressional hearings in the impeachment of Joe Biden, and I mean, these Republicans embarrass themselves so just over and over and over and over.
And the Democrats don't?
Heck no. No.
They're all saints, right?
No.
Right, William?
I'm not saying they're saints. But I mean, obviously, when you see Jim Jordan, they're taking it in the face every day, John. I wish I was making it up. But, John, I'm 70 years old. I've been watching this political thing for 70 years. And if there ever was a Republican Party like this before, no, not at all. Not at all. Instead of you guys trying to straighten them up, and Denny hit on it. Denny hit on it. I mean, you act like it doesn't exist, like they just is, it's just business as usual. No, these people have to go. And our congressman is sitting right there in the middle of it like these, oh, my God, unbelievable.
What do you have against our congressman, Jeff Van Drew?
I got nothing against him. It's, more about who he associates himself with, sitting down there with the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the Bolperts and one nutcase after the other. And there's maybe about in the Congress, how many of them do you think Republicans that just have shown any common sense or backbone? You go ahead and name them. Name them.
Well, Jeff Van Drew.
I know you're going to say. I know you're going to say Jeff Van Drew.
Yeah, well,
I'm not going to say you're not telling the truth about him. But the people he's aligned with, unbelievable. Well, okay, listen, I think you've given me enough of your time.
Okay. All right, William. You said it. I didn't. I was about to hang up on him anyway. But William is always an enlivening call. Believe me. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. It's always interesting here, isn't it? I mean, you never know what you're going to get. We have Steve and AC on the line, and we'll get him after the break, and then we have some open lines. So you want to jump in the final 20 minutes, 609-407-1450. I'm John DeMasi. More Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
The finest fresh fruit and produce you'll find anywhere? Check. Award-winning gift baskets and fruit baskets? Check. Baked goods and prepared foods? Check. They check all the boxes. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield. And that's not all. Gourmet items, specialty foods, and catering for all occasions. It's all right there. Check them out online at bfmazzio.com. That's bfmazzio.com. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield.
Your WPG Talk Radio 95.5 AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. This afternoon, mostly cloudy, milder, breezy with high 69. Clear to partly cloudy tonight, that low dipping at 38. Cooler tomorrow with clouds and sunshine, high 56 to wrap the weekend. Come Monday, mostly sunny, warmer with high 65. Mostly sunny on Tuesday as well with high 64. I'm AccuWeather's Ruth O'Brien on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose. Don't forget, you can listen to any of our shows at any time. It is called the John DeMasi Podcast. And you look that up on Google, and guess what? All the shows say they come up. There's over 200 shows. So you can listen anytime you want. Talk with a Purpose Podcast, and that's what you do. You Google John DeMasi Podcasts, and they all come up. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Steve and AC. Steve, good morning. You're on Talk with a Purpose.
Hey, good afternoon, John. How are you?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing great. Just a comment, I guess, an observation, not a criticism. Linda called in earlier from Absecon in reference to the mayor.
Yes.
And she kind of put out a general sympathetic tone. I would encourage, and she also prefaced it with not knowing the details. I would encourage anybody, because it's available online, read the affidavit.
I did. Yeah.
And so, and you referenced the statutory rape issue between a 14 and a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Two different worlds. And just full clarity, I'm retired law enforcement.
Okay.
And so the facts are facts, and this was not a statutory rape situation. This was actual hands-on violence. And so if people want to generalize, that's fine, but the facts are out there, and anybody can read the affidavit and, I guess, make their own decision.
Yeah, but what I was referring to, and what Linda was referring to in my opening comments, is this is a parental issue, and it's a shame.
It's not a parental issue, John. It's a crime. It's a crime. It's not a parental issue. And I'm 59 years old, and I understand things are different, and parents put their hands on people, but this is not. This is not. Just like that's the reason why the principal was charged. It's not her option or her opinion to do something that she feels is the right thing. They're guided by laws, and I couldn't disagree more, but I love your show. I listen to it every weekend.
Okay.
I just couldn't let that pass.
Well, that's why you called. Hey, there's no problem with that. But the
gentleman before me is the reason why they should not open any more marijuana shops in Atlantic City.
I'm with you on that one. I'm with you on that. Definitely. Thanks for the call, Steve. John in Ocean City. John, good morning. Welcome back.
Yes, good morning. Name a Democrat politician that's been forced to pay a fine of $350 million. You can't find one.
Nope.
Name a Democrat politician that's forced to pay a settlement of $85 million to a woman who never proved rape. There isn't one. Tara Reid was violently raped by Joe Biden. She has a believable story, and he got up in her face and said, "Nobody will believe you, and if you do say something, you'll regret it." He threatened her after he raped her. 11 women were violently raped by Bill Clinton, and Hillary Clinton dismissed them as nuts and sluts. Hillary Clinton, who said a woman's voice should always be heard, as long as they're not attacking her and her, the Bonnie and Clyde of political criminality. But anyway, I just wanted to say, Joe Biden, his uncle Phineas Finnegan, or whatever his name was, Ambrose Finnegan, was eaten by New Guinean natives. Well, New Guinean natives in New Guinea, they do have a weird practice, a bizarre practice of eating their ancestors when they die. It's bizarre, but they're not cannibals though. They eat pigs and they eat all kind of wildlife there, and they grow food. So they're not really cannibals per se. They have a bizarre custom of doing that. Now, if Donald Trump had said that, let's start with President Joe Biden saying he was a cadet at the prestigious Annapolis Naval Academy, and he wasn't. Or he graduated at the top of his law class, and he graduated at the bottom.
At the bottom, yeah.
Right? He drove an 18-wheeler truck. He did. There's so many things that the guy lied about that. You know, if President Trump had done any of that nonsense, he would have been laughed to scorn. So the man's been attacked from every angle, and they've tried to destroy the man. That's what we never said he walked on water. We never said that. We're just saying he's been attacked from every angle, and he's still standing. That's why he should be president again. Thanks.
Thanks, John. Thanks for the call. The only time Joe Biden lies is when he opens his mouth. I mean, he's lied about everything. He even lied about his own son. He said he died in Iraq. He died of a brain tumor in 2015. Boy. Frank and Ventnor. Frank, this should be a good call.
Hey,
good morning.
John, I felt compelled to call, and I think you know why.
I know why, yes.
Yeah. So let me answer John just a couple points he brought up. He should know that just because a website has the name London in it doesn't mean it's based in Great Britain. John, this is just an obscure London Crier. We don't know where that's based.
Yeah.
It's just an obscure website that was created less than a month ago.
Oh, jeez.
And secondly, John, you know how the London press, the Londons love talk about the royal family.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Do you ever wonder why the story of supposedly King Charles selling the Highgrove Mansion is not even mentioned in any of the legitimate press of London?
No, I don't.
And because I think you know why. And I also sent you a story last week of how Yahoo Finance in UK went into detail that they debunked that story. And secondly, I noticed John is backing off of Zelensky owning the yachts. You notice this week his story is, well, some people in Ukraine own yachts. And, we're in agreement there, John. And, and I also agree with him that he says he has no proof. So I'm in 100% agreement with John this week. That's it, John.
Okay. All right. Glad we're on the same page. We have these little debates going on between, our callers. Greg and Absec, and Greg, good morning. Welcome.
Mr. Massey, good morning again. A question. The judge earlier at the beginning of the show talked about dismissing some towns that they weren't involved in this little procedure that they have taken place out on the ocean.
Oh, yes.
The windmills.
Yes.
Yeah. Did anybody talk about the trenches and the holes that are going to be dug all over the towns?
Nope.
Well, what the hell are they out there for?
I have no idea. I have no idea. To say that in Brigantine they're not affected. What are they talking about?
That's called La La Land.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Maybe they make a.
They're going to be bringing it in.
Yeah, maybe Hollywood will make a movie out of it.
They should. It may turn out to be a movie.
Jeez.
No, just a thought. I'm sorry, but I missed a portion of the show.
Okay. Well, that's all right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the call, Greg. 609-407-1450. We have a couple minutes left of the show. If you want to jump in here on anything we're talking about, whether it's about Joe Biden lying about cannibals eating his uncle, or there's a pre-lunch thought. Cannibals eating Joe Biden's uncle. Oh, think of that while you're biting your hamburger. There's another Biden story, and he won't let this go. Biden's student loan relief plan advances. WPG. His latest plan for student loan cancellation is moving forward as a proposed regulation. The Education Department filed paperwork Tuesday for a new regulation that would deliver the cancellation that Biden announced last week. Now, it still has to go through a 30-day public comment period and another review before it can be finalized. Conservative opponents who see it as an unfair burden for taxpayers who did not attend college have threatened to challenge it in court. So we'll see. But Biden, if at first he doesn't succeed, try again. Oh. Tony and AC. Tony, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Thank you. Where do you start? The 70-year-old, you need good barbecue sauce, and they wrap people in banana leaves. So there's a nice little fragrance and spice. Banana leaves are the key. With good habanero. They got a lot of spicy peppers on the island. Anyway, the 70-year-old who's railing against the Republicans with no specific agenda.
Yes.
Just right. I hope he has a granddaughter who's on a basketball team. You know where I'm going with this? It's kind of obvious.
Yeah.
I hope he has a granddaughter who's on a basketball team, and down in the locker room, she in the vicinity or in the shower of the transgender 6'2", newly, not appointed, newly determined woman, girl, right? And he's swinging his business next to her in the shower. I mean, how would he? Then let him get on the air.
That would be an interesting call. Tony.
Yeah, he needs don't. It's like some hands-on experience. I think he would need, with situations like that. Right. And the world's getting crazy, really crazy. Bill Barr was on Colludo and reluctantly made a decision to back the Republican nominee, Donald. But he thinks the trial going on now is absurd and it's going to be absolutely reversed. But someone called up, one of your callers, I believe, called up and mentioned that how many hundreds of thousands of ballots in Pennsylvania there was no one voted for Trump. You remember that call?
Yeah, I remember. Yes, yeah, it was early on. Yeah, it was about 300,000 or so, something like that.
And that's a truism. It wasn't that truck driver that went from Long Island to Pennsylvania, was it? Because I don't think those were empty ballots.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that. No,
it wasn't that. But it was. And Bill Barr was railing. The only thing he's railing against Trump is his deportment after the election, and not, verifying that he lost.
Yeah.
And then you have callers, right? Yeah, we have the 2 suitcases down in Georgia, right? And somebody said there was a printing press business a block away from where they were counting the votes, right? They threw all the people out of the building, and they kept voting, kept counting.
Yeah.
Well, nobody. My buddy, I think has the right answer. I keep telling him he's a lot brighter than I. He's like he's in line with your best caller. He's very smart. Worked in Washington for a while. Was a driver there. He said there was. I forget how he put it. There was no. You have to catch them in the act. He said.
Yeah.
That's why Bill Barr.
That's right.
Was reluctant to chase him. To get involved with it, because you have to catch him in the act. He uses another term, like I said. I'm 81. I'm getting a little senile, and I never was into politics. I just watch football and drink beer.
So do I. So do I.
Well, anyway, very, very interesting show.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate the call. Andy in Philadelphia. Andy, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hey, John, how you doing? I'm down at my home in Brigantine, but I don't want to be confused with the great commentator that lives here in Brigantine named Andy.
Okay.
He's a great guy. I really like the comments that he makes. I'll have to bump into him someday. I wanted to make a comment about the Ukraine. I've been listening to you. I listen to you every Saturday morning. I listened to you a week or so ago when dumbass Dave told you that Trump was costing the taxpayers a lot of money because he was being... Anyway... am I the only person that has thought about this? Every time Biden talks about the Ukraine, he bends over backwards for the Ukraine. He can't do enough for the Ukraine. You have a lot of allies over there that could be doing more for the Ukraine. Has anybody made the connection between his kid and the Ukraine investigation? The files that are still sitting over there on a computer that will explain exactly what Biden and his kid did. And now we're bending over backwards for the Ukraine, and I have no idea where these billions of dollars are going.
No, that's a good point. I mean, obviously he's in bed with Ukraine, and he has been for some time.
He's been bought and paid for by the Ukraine.
Yeah.
He won't lift up. He's a passive aggressive when it comes to Israel, one of our strongest allies over there in the MiddleEst. But he's bending over backwards. Everything the Ukrainians want, he supports, and he wants to give it for them.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Here's why I think they don't bring it up for a separate piece of legislation, because it would have to be debated on the floor, and people could ask those questions. They could ask the president of the Ukraine, please turn over all the investigative files regarding the president when he was the vice president and his son. Don't forget, it was only 8 or 10 years ago that he went to the Ukraine and he said, I'm not giving you this foreign aid that we promised to you until you shut the investigation down.
Right.
Now he's a big proponent of the Ukraine.
Yeah.
I hope people can put that together in their heads, John.
Yes.
You have a great show. I was so glad when you hung up on dumbass Dave when he called you a couple of weeks ago. I mean, I was sitting here having my late coffee, thinking to myself, how can John put up with this guy? But you did a great job. I listen to you on Saturday morning when I'm down. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Yeah, I don't know. I could put up with them either. A couple of minutes left of the show. One more call. Lance is back. Lance, good morning.
Hey, good morning, John. I just wanted to put out that the United States Marine Corps League is having a spaghetti dinner from 12 o'clock to 5 this afternoon for fundraising for the Toys for Tots and stuff. You don't have to bring, you got to pay for the spaghetti dinner. But it's from 12 to 5 on Great Creek Road in Galloway Township. And if nobody wants to cook today and do a good cause, this is the perfect time. And speaking of good causes, your Talk with a Purpose is a great cause, and I'm glad to listen every weekend.
Thanks
for having Denny on.
Thanks, Lance. And I'm sure if folks are going to attend that spaghetti dinner, or really lunch, but it's like, well, the Italians, they eat at dinner on Sunday at 12 o'clock. So I don't, but that's what the tradition was. All right. Boy, we had a lively show today, didn't we? I mean, I had a story on a major newspaper again. Do I have how many minutes? 2? Okay, so the article is titled "I Need a Republican Hero." And this is one of the this is saying that Liz Cheney is a Republican hero. That's like saying Attila the Hun is a pacifist, you know? Okay. Cheney has created a great task pack, the sole purpose of which is to prevent Donald Trump from being elected in 2024. According to Cheney, the GOP has chosen a man who attempted to overturn an election and seize power. We have 8 months to save our republic and ensure Donald Trump is never anywhere near the Oval Office again. That is Liz Cheney, whose father ruined the country as George W. Bush's vice president. That's another story, which I wanted to get to this earlier, but what can I tell you? You know, the show got in the way of me getting to that, and that's fine. And that is going to put the wraps, believe it or not, on another edition of Talk with a Purpose. Thanks to Chris Coleman, our program director and producer. Thanks to Denny Levinson, Atlantic County Executive. And, of course, thanks to you, our audience, because without you, as I said, there's no me. Plain and simple. Talk with a Purpose is the show, and we will resume next Saturday, 9 to noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. And as we always say, you take care.
The preceding program was paid for and presented by John DeMasi.